Welcome back to the channel, guys. So we have the 10 most underappreciated WWE wrestlers that never got a chance, man. And every time I read something like this and I think of underappreciated wrestlers in history, there are 3 wrestlers that come to my mind and hurts my heart so bad. So from recent memory, the first name that pops up is Cesaro. I cannot understand why he never got a push to the main title, to a heavyweight belt. I don't understand it, man. This guy was putting on bangers after bangers. He was great in the ring. He held it up. Honestly, I don't understand it. There's nothing anyone can do or say to rationalize the fact that he didn't get a chance. He even went over to NXT UK and had a banger with Ilya Dragunov, right? And nobody talked about it. One of the best matches of that year, right? So I don't understand him. I don't understand how, Shelton Benjamin did get a push to a main title. As great as he is, we know he's eventually going to be in the Hall of Fame, but dang, he didn't get a chance. And also Jake the Snake Roberts, man. I still think it's crazy that he's never held a title at all. He's never touched any piece of gold at all. So that is always weird to me, man. But anyways, hopefully those guys make the list. It's sad to be on a list like this, but it is what it is. It's part of the business. Some people get left to the side, and that's how things go. Now, before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it. Let's get into this.
Well, the term underrated is thrown around a lot within the wrestling fandom. What qualifies a wrestler for being underrated, though? Is it a lack of appreciation from fans, or is it a lack of respect and subsequent push from WWE themselves? Every fan will have different qualifying metrics in terms of what makes a talent underrated, but the most common consensus is that an underrated wrestler is a talent who never got their flowers from WWE during their time in the company, and this talent has in later years become a fan favorite. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 of the most underrated wrestlers in WWE
let's see what you got,
history. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out WrestleMania.co.uk and a non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Number 10, Shelton Benjamin. One of the standout tag teams of the Ruthless Aggression era in WWE was the world's greatest tag team. Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas were 2 tremendous wrestlers, but it was Benjamin who stood out. Benjamin would begin a solo career in 2004, and for the longest time, it looked like Benjamin was destined to be a future WWE champion. He would secure major victories over the likes of Triple H, Ric Flair and Chris Jericho, but WWE failed to effectively pull the trigger on him. As Benjamin's career went on, he was solidified as a mid-card talent and was often used in Money in the Bank matches as a human highlight reel. Benjamin continues to have a ton of support and love to this very day, and even though he seems destined to wrestle on WWE Main Event for the rest of his career, there is still hope that Triple H will finally give the former IC champion and US champion the push he so deserves. Number 9.
I don't know. I think it's too late for that. Wait, when did this list even come out? But if it came out in the past year, I think it's probably too late for them to try to push him into being a world title holder. I think it's too late, but I do appreciate what he contributed to wrestling.
John Morrison. John Morrison's work throughout his wrestling career has always been appreciated by fans. Morrison is without question one of the most athletic wrestlers to ever grace a WWE ring, and Morrison can do some insane things with his body. Morrison did receive a decent push during his numerous runs in WWE. His 2009 push was certainly a highlight, and this was when it was rumored that Morrison was going to ascend into the main event scene in WWE. The crowd at this point in time were firmly behind him, and this was cemented when Morrison was cheered over Rey Mysterio in an IC match on SmackDown. In late 2010, the crowd were fully on board with Morrison becoming WWE Champion, and he would even win a number 1 contenders match to face former tag partner and then WWE Champion The Miz. This match would happen on Raw in early 2011, and it was a Match of the Year contender. Morrison was never the same following his unsuccessful attempt to win the title in 2011, and it was clear that WWE had no plans whatsoever to give the underrated star a run with WWE's top prize. Number 8, Baron Corbin. One of the most criticized wrestlers of the modern era is Baron Corbin.
Okay, I kind of agree and disagree a little bit, right? This current iteration of Baron Corbin, maybe not, but the Lone Wolf, or around the time he was dressed like an Applebee's manager when he had all black on, for sure, he could have been a good heel champion. I think it would have been great. I was a big Baron Corbin fan, to be honest with you, which sounds weird, but I was just for the aesthetic, and then the Deep Six, man, I love that move. That's a great move. But I felt like at a time that they should have pulled the trigger on him. Even if it was a short run, it would have been cool to see. But I don't know about right now. What do you guys think? I don't know about Happy Corbin getting the belt. I don't know about whatever he called himself now to get a belt. What do you guys think?
Corbin is criticized for being boring in the ring and pushed beyond his abilities. However, Corbin is one of the more underrated stars in the locker room. Corbin is safe, reliable, and is someone who can deliver exceptional character work. This was seen when Corbin performed his Broken Corbin character. This showed that Corbin had a ton of range as a wrestler and had the ability to break away from his established persona. A number of wrestlers have spoken out about just how good Corbin is, and these include names such as The Rock and Randy Orton. There is a reason that WWE continues to keep Corbin in a featured role, and this is unlikely to ever change. Number 7, Cesaro.
Yes,
Throughout Cesaro,
please get in on them WrestleMania. Please don't be light about this. I don't understand this, bro. This boils my blood. I don't get it, bro.
His run in WWE, he was often labeled as underrated by fans.
Yes,
this was because WWE failed to see Cesaro as a main event talent.
He should have been number 1 on
Former
this list.
WWE chairman Vince McMahon would even appear on Stone Cold's podcast in 2014 and outright declared that Cesaro doesn't have the it factor. Cesaro received a number of pushes throughout his career, but during those pushes, WWE had no concrete plans to make him world champion. Fans like to place Cesaro on the list of names that should have been world champion, and it's hard to argue. Cesaro received his biggest push to date in 2021 when he defeated Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 37 and main evented the WrestleMania Backlash event against Roman Reigns. Although there were calls for Cesaro to win this major match, WWE had other ideas. Cesaro now finds himself in AEW, where he hopes that the company will present him in a manner fitting for his extensive talent.
I forgot about that interview with Vince McMahon. Now that I see it again, it's still, bro. What does he need? Is it because he has an accent? I don't get. He has everything that you would need in a champion, right? Fans behind him, great matches, bro, with every person he's in the ring with. I don't know what else he needed. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And now they lost a good one to AEW. And who knows? Now I feel like that ship is sailed. Who knows if he ever will come back to WWE? And who knows what AEW will actually do with this guy? I mean, he has some good matches here and there, but I don't see them putting the AEW championship on him anytime soon. But man, I don't know, man. That just blows my mind.
Number 6, Shane Hurricane Helms. Shane Helms landed on WWE television in 2001 with a colourful hurricane persona. When the character first debuted, fans were critical, and there were questions surrounding on how on earth a superhero character was going to work in 2001. If this was the new generation era, it would have been fine, but this was an edgy product that WWE were presenting. Thankfully, Shane Hurricane Helms proved everyone wrong. The character became immensely popular, especially with the younger demographic, and the Hurricane subsequently became one of the most beloved characters on the show. In 2003, The Rock would even work with the Hurricane in one of his final TV programs before semi-retirement. This was a huge deal and showed how much someone as iconic as The Rock valued the Hurricane's work. Although Hurricane never won the big one in WWE, his body of work is vastly underrated and should be a template on how to make a character work. Number 5.
That one I would have to disagree with. I don't agree with that. I don't want to say I extremely disagree with that, but I don't think that just because he's over as a character that he should automatically just get a title run, especially a main title. Maybe one of the mid-card titles, I don't know, but there's nothing. I was watching wrestling when he was out, so I don't even know if that qualifies for him to just get a championship just because the younger fans were over. And plus, if that happened during the PG era, then maybe, but back then, nah, not in that era.
Xavier Woods. The New Day are one of the most celebrated stables of all time, yet Big E and Kofi Kingston seem to get the majority of the praise. This is likely due to the WWE favoring the two aforementioned talents over Xavier Woods. Big E and Kingston have both won the WWE titles during the New Day's tenure. Woods has won the King of the Ring, but this sadly didn't lead to anything substantial. Woods is a tremendous athlete, talker, and storyteller. He has the inherent ability to deliver hilarious comedic material, then seconds later switches focus into selling a match with passion and integrity. New Day member Kingston discussed just how underrated Woods is during an interview with Sportskeeda. He stated, "He's very underrated, number one, incredibly underrated. I don't think people understand that his wrestling mind is legit top-notch. Having conversations with him and talking about matches and ideas, top-notch wrestling mind for sure. The New Day doesn't happen if Xavier Woods doesn't have the idea, culminating that, that the big old cauldron that he calls his brain." Number 4.
Yeah, I can't believe I never thought of that. Like, not that I never have, but I haven't thought about it, like, now. But, Because I thought that once Big E won the championship, once after Kofi Kingston won his title, I thought that at some point, because there was rumors that they were going to break up the New Day, and maybe I thought they were going to do a storyline where Xavier Woods turns on them because he's kind of jealous because he never got the opportunity. So I thought that was going to be the case, and somehow he was going to get the title as a heel. And this is way before Roman Reigns became the head of the table and things got big for them. So, man, yeah, I definitely agree with that, 100%.
Or Umaga. When Umaga first debuted in 2006, fans were skeptical. There were concerns that Umaga was just another generic super heavyweight who would fail to have entertaining matches, but Umaga proved everyone wrong. Whilst he had tropes of an old school super heavyweight, his in-ring work was perfect for the Ruthless Aggression era, meaning that he could have excellent matches with everyone up and down the card. Umaga had acclaimed matches with the likes of Triple H and Jeff Hardy, and his last man standing match against John Cena at the 2007 Rumble is an all-time classic. There were arguments to be made, especially in 2007, that Umaga should have won the title, and it was hard to argue with anyone who had this viewpoint. Umaga's work was just that damn good. He sadly passed away in 2009, but his memory lives on, and there is a consistent push from fans to see Umaga take his rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame. Number 3.
RIP to Umaga, but really quick before we go to the next person, part of me felt like because of his shape, like they didn't want to give him a chance. Like you guys, I'm sure have heard those rumors where like Vince McMahon didn't push somebody because they didn't look a certain way, they weren't chiseled or whatever. So those names that they just mentioned that he got matches with, although those matches were really good, their body type was the one that Vince McMahon really liked, you know. So I think that has something to do with it. I can't confirm that, but I agree. Umaga was pretty big around that time, and listen, that's not even a joke about his size. Seriously, I'm not. But I think he should have got a push at that point in time. Should he get in the title? Should he have gotten the title? I think so.
3. Sheamus.
Yes,
Sheamus is a wrestler who, until recently, has never given the respect and admiration he did.
But he had a couple title runs. Like I think he won the heavyweight title a couple times, I believe. Right? Am I tripping? I thought he won that a couple times and got the tag team titles at one point. But I think as a wrestler, he is underrated. I think he puts on really great matches, and I can't wait to see whatever. I hope they put him somehow, some way, force a storyline with him, Walter or Gunther and Drew McIntyre to have a triple threat match, and it would be so amazing if Cesaro was part of that 4-way match. That would be an incredible, hard-hitting match, man. But anyways, back to the topic.
Deserved. Debuting in 2009, Sheamus has constantly been great in the ring for over a decade. Unfortunately, his early ascension to the main event scene in WWE resulted in a number of fans turning against him. While Sheamus' WWE title win just months after debuting was questionable, this didn't take away from the bodywork that followed in later years. Sheamus has had phenomenal matches with everyone, including the likes of Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Roman Reigns, and even The Big Show. 2022 was truly the year where fan reception to the former WWE champion turned around. Fans eventually realized that Sheamus was underrated in everything he did, and he was one of the most dependable wrestlers in the entire company. Number 2, William Regal. What makes up the perfect pro wrestler? Is it someone's in-ring ability? Is it charisma? Or is it a combination of all factors that are needed to become a successful WWE star? William Regal truly had everything. His in-ring work was well documented, and it's well established that Regal was a gifted pro wrestler during his WWE tenure. But it's Regal's other abilities which fly under the radar. Regal is an unbelievable talker, and he has the ability to cut babyface and heel promos with conviction and meaning. Thankfully, Regal is still involved in the wrestling industry as a manager in AEW, so fans are often treated to the verbal skills of the former King of the Ring. Regal also has the ability to deliver comedy at a level that has never been seen before. His mannerisms throughout his time in WWE were second to none, and they helped elevate any comedic segment that he was involved in. Regal was the total package, and it was unfortunate that WWE never pushed him into the main event picture. Nevertheless, Regal's work is going to be studied for generations to come, simply because his impact on the wrestling industry is never going to be diminished. And
I think William Regal, I agree with that. I think William Regal is one of those wrestlers that like you retroactively think about them and say that they should have gotten a push. At the time that William Regal was in WWF, WWE, whichever way you want to call it, I think a lot of people had, because of the way Vince McMahon did certain characters, people had this viewpoint of people who represented other countries that weren't the USA, of course. So people didn't really look at his in-ring ability like that. Not everybody. There's some people who are wrestling enthusiasts and and analysts and so on and so forth that did notice those things. But most people remember him as like, this is a British guy who gets on your nerve as a joke. But once he became a part of NXT, I think that's around the time that people started to go back and look at his work. As far as I've seen online, maybe there are pockets of the world and maybe great masses of people who have been discussing his in-ring ability that I haven't noticed. I'm just speaking on what I've seen, but I think William Regal should have won a title, but it is what it is.
Number 1, Christian. Upon WWE's decision to split Edge and Christian in 2001, it was evident that WWE believed that Edge was the star of the duo. Whilst Edge had a ton of potential and went on to reach a legendary status in WWE, Christian had a body of work that is vastly underappreciated. Christian is arguably one of the best in-ring talents of the past 2 decades, and talents such as Randy Orton, AJ Styles and Booker T have all alluded to this in prior interviews. What makes Christian underrated was just how little WWE, well specifically Vince McMahon, valued his work. It's an urban legend that Vince McMahon disliked Christian mainly due to his appearance, so McMahon would never fully commit to a Christian push. When Christian eventually won the title in 2011, his reign didn't even last a full week, and it was clear that McMahon did not see him as a main event level attraction. WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle put it best when he shared his thoughts on Christian during an episode of his podcast. But there you have it, folks. 10 of the most underrated wrestlers.
Yeah, I can't get mad at this list. The only person I kind of disagree with is with the Hurricane. That's the only one I kind of disagree with. Not that I didn't want anything successful to come out of his career. I just personally, remembering at that time and even watching it at that time, nothing in me told me like, hey, they should put a title on it. Even now when I look back at it, there's nothing in my mind that tells me that, hey, they should put the heavyweight title on it. But I guess, if it was during the PGA era, and obviously at that time they were trying to, get a bigger fan base, a more younger fan base, it would have made all the sense in the world. It's kind of like what they did with Nikki Ash. They made her a superhero, didn't really put a real title on her. But anyways, what do you guys think? If there's some underrated wrestlers that did not make this list, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much.